متحف شركة سابك يقدمه الأستاذ سعيد القحطاني، فليتفضل.
So my name is Sa'id al-Qahtani. For the past couple of years, I'm an HR leader, learning, I look after the academies. I can actually use digital tools. They actually can, and the future is really about digital. So today, my intention really in the short time, I want to talk about what kind of skills that the future thinks I'm writing for them. And that's, again, they're using Philippines from so Upwork becomes now, so you, again, your own brand is your own identity. That's going to be more critical. So we know that, for example, our kids, for those who have kids, I have 6 of them, alhamdulillah, and I think it's all fun to have kids because they teach you every day. So for kids, they like to have YouTube. They always worry about their likes, dislikes. You know, for us at our age, this is easy. Now for this generation, so this is one of the performance zones that would be called. The other thing is befriend machines. So how many of you have used Udacity or learned something from Udacity, the MISC? Okay, that's good. Three only. So okay, out of the students. So I encourage you to really go and utilize whatever resources. Befriend the machines. The machines is going, this is again in the future. As I said, this is going to be crazy. So the future means that you will be managing machines. Machines might manage you, so your boss might be a machine, and sometimes you will be interacting a lot with machines. Like I said, personal assistants, our kids are growing with these things, so for them this is normal. For us it might be a little bit, okay. So that the third performance zone is build your crew. And again, build your tribe. I was lucky enough in one of our visits to the Silicon Valley. I was actually touring the innovation, there, and I met with a couple of interesting guys, and I was lucky that we got the chance to bring the Saudi Maker Fair. This is a fair that inshallah will happen for the first time as a flagship in Saudi Arabia. That will happen in Riyadh. So please, if you don't know anything about it, look it up, participate, and if you have something that you are making, you can go and show it. But again, what's the interesting thing here about the Saudi Maker Fair and the Maker Fair is we get to know a lot of makers in Saudi Arabia, and nobody knows about them. We got a very big community of people who can actually create anything. And the momentum that you get out of this connection is very, very critical. So you need to build that skill as well. I'll skip some slides if you don't mind. This is again making sense of the low-B complex systems. This is a very critical performance that you need to be able to connect these dots. And again, when you are born in this digital era, that becomes very easy for you. I want to move, because of time, to the next topic, which is exponential. Unfortunately, this presentation is 90 minutes, so excuse me because I have to crash it. One of the other things is exponential technology. As organizations, we are programmed, because the other thing I want to talk about is on an organization. One of the things that organizations always face is the battle or التحدي بين المنظمة اللي قائمة وبين شيء جديد. احنا عارفين مثلا لما طلعت اوبر زي ما تفضل اخوي هيثم, almost transportation have collapsed. Unnamed, Kodak versus Instagram. Kodak collapsed, you got Instagram nowadays. So these are like categories of transformation. Organizations normally, big organizations, normally defend their own operating rhythm. As we go, you will be displacing a lot of jobs, but there will be a lot of other opportunities that create because of the technology. An interesting book. How many of you have read this book, by the way? Sorry. Okay, so I can't say anything. I think why I use this book a lot with our leaders, because I want them to get challenged. This book is one of the best, I would say, books that you have to read this book. And especially if you are in an organization, and I use it to learn myself. I think for exponential organizations is like Google, for example. They versus big organizations without naming, any other organization. So this model, the Salim Ismail from Singularity University, we worked with Singularity as well earlier, and his colleagues actually developed the model, which is actually like the brain. So unfortunately this is not pointing. The right side is about creativity. And actually, if you look at its scale, it's like scale versus idea. And this is like attributes of exponential organization. أي منظمة عندها السمات حقت الاكسبوننشال إنه تغير، لازم يكون عندها السمات اللي بتكلم عنها. Very quickly. The first one is staff and demand. So Procter & Gamble, and for those who work in merchandising or FMCG sector, they know merchandising is a big deal. So you need to make sure that customers see your products, especially products that you want to market first or sell more. You have to organize, and you have to get an army of merchandisers. I've worked in this business for some time. An army of merchandisers actually to make sure that your own products is done. So P&G uses gig work. Again, gig work is actually to check where the merchandise is being placed in Walmart, and also pay them little bit of dollars to give them reports, instant reports. So this is staff on demand. Staff on demand, now organizations start using staff on demand because you don't want to rely on your own workforce for the whole. So staff on demand people that you can bring and which is outsourcing. But even you can go more than outsourcing. So the example I gave, like Upwork and TaskRabbit. I don't know how many of you know TaskRabbit. Okay. But, so I think I've gone back. Okay. That's not good news. But GitHub again. Another attribute is the community and crowd. Organizations need to learn how to use the crowd. The crowd, the community is people who are connected to you customers. But then I think I have another slide. Yeah, okay. I think that was deleted for. The crowd is people. One of my visits to the US, I visited a company called First Built, and they are part of GE Appliances in Kentucky. And what is unique about First Built is they have managed to crowdsource ideas from chemical engineers and electrical engineers across the globe. And now this is becoming something common, that you engage everybody actually that has to do with your own project. Rather than just your own chemical engineers, you can actually open it up for all chemical engineers or mechanical engineers in the globe. And they've managed to prototype products and bring it to the market and was successful. So GitHub again is an open source developer community. I think a lot of you maybe know GitHub. Another example is algorithms. Now, as the team talked about algorithms, we have a couple of them now. Deep learning, machine learning is again some of the frontier when it comes to algorithms. But an example of UPS have like 55,000 trucks, and they make 16 million deliverables daily, so that's a huge business. And actually, for someone who knows this business, the mileage is actually the main thing is how much this truck drives, because that drives a lot of cost. So they actually used algorithms, and they had an efficiency of saving 85 million per year, resulting in 2.5 billion US dollars. This is huge. And someone was telling me the story about UPS, and funny story that they actually discovered that you have to go to the right all the time. So Every time you go, just go to the right. So that's an example about using algorithms. I think we are using algorithms as well, and I think for us and our generation to come, they will be using it. Leveraging assets. Again, the example is Square. Maybe for those who know the payment device, Square is actually you use TickShop, which is again a very cheap licensing fee that you can access TickShop, which is TickShop is a maker space that's available in San Francisco. So you don't need to use a lot of resources. You don't need to have your own plant. You can actually go on. Many examples. Apple is using also. I mean, there are many examples of not having your own facility, but instead using others. I have to skip, if you don't mind. I think the other side, because of time, I think I have very few minutes to go. The other side of this equation is how these organizations, exponential organizations, actually utilize this external world, which is scale, staff in demand, community, algorithms. Internally, they have to have a very strong system. The first thing is interface. So interface is how much time do you have? Only 1 minute. Interface, like for example, Uber. I think I'll just skip this if you don't mind, and talk about the overall interface, dashboard, experimentation, autonomy, and social. These are qualities that exponential organizations, and for example like Google, Tesla, have to create internally to be able to use the external world that we talked about. So one of the things I want to conclude with is experimentation. One of the interesting things we have, again in organizations, in big organizations, and for those who can influence this, is this battle between exploit versus explore. We want to exploit, we want to run and maintain, do our business, but we don't want to have something and hear anything about something that's going to disrupt. And all of a sudden you have something coming from outside that might affect the business and eat up the business. Again, thanks for the opportunity, and I hope I gave you some learning. Again, thank you very much for the opportunity.